Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bauerle.
Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your priority waiver playoff edition. Make sure you follow us everywhere on Instagram, X, TikToks, everywhere at OUSFF Pod. Make sure you follow the network at Finstalk Sports Network, and make sure you follow us as well at Josh Kimmel OUS, at Justin Bauerle. I'm not wearing my Jaguars jersey today because as a true hardcore fan, I am disappointed in their production. Apparently, everyone thinks if you wear a jersey, you're just a fan of the team. And they can't get the jersey right. I'm wearing a Gardner Minshew jersey, and they think it's Trevor Lawrence.
I mean,
I guess they don't know numbers either.
Go figure that the one time in this entire 358 episode podcast, we wear a jersey and we get called out for it. But you get called out for it. I didn't get called out for it.
I'm very people are still attacking me to this day about Baker Mayfield. And hey,
stupid.
Baker helped me win a quarterfinal matchup this weekend. So I'm happy, thankful for Baker. Baker, I really appreciate what you did for me. 44 points.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty good because I made 7 conference finals or semifinals, as you call them. So I'm feeling pretty good. How many finals are you in semifinals wise?
I had famously a lot of bye weeks last week. I did lose one of my 2 matchups last week. I was first place all season until the final week where I fell to second. And I had a couple of duds not show up. I benched Baker, actually.
See, people, you need to hate on him because I started Baker.
I'm in 4 semifinals as number 1 seed.
We don't need details. Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Nobody cares about our fantasy teams. We're just here to help you win your league, not our league.
But it does give us some credibility, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think it does. People talk about all the time, like, nobody cares about your fantasy league, like all 30 of your teams. I'm like, but if I had 30 really, really bad teams, you probably shouldn't listen. But if I have 5 good ones out of 10, maybe I know something.
Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe we're lucky. But anyway, we are here to talk about the news. We have some injuries. Talk about unlucky, man. A lot of big names went down this weekend. A lot of big names. A lot of duds from players. And we have some waiver pickups. So go ahead and get to the news. Let's get it started, baby.
Time for injury news.
So the first one, probably one of the more important ones. Trevor Lawrence went down with a concussion at the end of the game. He had a pretty decent day against the Ravens, but couldn't get it done. He's expected to clear the protocol by this weekend's game. They did sign E.J. Perry to their practice squad. That's the Jaguars. I would expect him to play at this point. This would be his 3rd injury of the season. I would 100% expect him to play it. But if he can't clear protocol, he should not play. Let's just be clear before people are like, oh, Justin's saying start players that have concussions. Next up, we have Michael Pittman Jr. with a concussion. We also probably all saw that hit by the Steelers defensive back who was suspended for the remainder of the season because of the hit on Michael Pittman Jr. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he should have been suspended for the entire season, but that's neither here nor there.
Can I have an opinion on this real quick? I'll talk about it. I think that the hit sucked. I think it's unnecessary, not cool, right? But what else is he supposed to do?
I mean, he could have
Do we have a conclusion? No, he's trying to knock the ball out of his hands so he doesn't make a completion. What else is he supposed to do? That's my question.
Yeah, I get it. The thing is, when Michael Pittman Jr. was in the air, Kinsey or whatever his dude's name was, just literally dove right towards his.
Well, there is a rule in place. And hey, Bobby, what's going on, boss? Thank you for the love of the cutaways. Justin works hard on that. Couldn't do it without Justin. But I will say on this, there is a penalty for defenseless receiver, and that's what this was. So are we telling defensive backs, which we have been forever, do not hit players when they're defenseless like Michael Pittman was? I mean, that's the fact. Unfortunately, it left him with a concussion, out for the rest of the game. I hit my under for the reception total, so I was not hurting for it. I was okay with it. But Michael Pittman was on my fantasy team as well, and it kind of hurt me, man. That sucked.
I mean, 11.8 still, even without a touchdown, that was a pretty solid day. He had a pretty big catch there in the second quarter. I don't know. I unfortunately didn't get to watch any football this weekend, but yeah, he did pretty well.
Next person.
Next guy. This is a huge one. Jamar Chase has a shoulder injury. He has an AC joint sprain, which we've seen several players have this season. Most probably famously Anthony Richardson, who's missed the entire season because of it. He is likely to miss some time, as the Bengals are saying, and so is Ian Rappaport with that separated shoulder. He will definitely miss the game against the Steelers this week in your semifinal. The hope is that maybe he's back the following week, but if they're not even going to be in the hunt for the playoffs, I expect Jamar Chase's season probably to be done. If they have a chance, if they win this game this week, they are still fighting for a playoff spot. I would expect him to probably play in week 17, but again, it's all going to be determined by that shoulder injury. So that's going to be tough.
Can I add to this? Thank you, T. Higgins, for coming through clutch in my consolation brackets. I really appreciate it. You're my highest rostered player in all of Dynasty. You guys know how many Dynasty leagues I'm in. So I really appreciate you coming through.
Finally,
when it's not needed, T. Higgins. I again, the best contract year of all time. Psych. I hope you don't get signed anywhere. I hope you stay with Cincinnati and you have a low ball offer because you sucked.
I like all the
sucked.
The ideas of getting Justin Jefferson to go to the Bengals instead. Next up, Keaton Mitchell out for the season, torn ACL.
Hate to see it.
It's the end of his rookie season. After that, Will Levis has a high ankle sprain. His timetable is unclear, but again, at this point, why start him? Their season's over. They're out of the playoffs. There's no point of continuing to risk his injury. I would start Ryan Tannehill, give him something to prove, maybe to go into the offseason.
Yes, he's spinning.
So, yeah. So that I would expect him to be probably shut down for the rest of the season.
Well, hold on, you were spinning and you froze, so I'm gonna assume you said high ankle sprain. He's probably not going to play. Tannehill's probably going to step in. They're going to get a new holder for field goal kicking because Tannehill clearly can't do that, and we expect Levis to be out for the rest of the year.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, moving on.
Zach Wilson left the game with a concussion. This was a weird one because he left the game without a concussion, went to the locker room for dehydration, came back, went back out with a concussion. Like he was ruled out with a concussion. I don't know what happened. 4 for 11, 26 yards. He had negative points on your fantasy roster. Josh knows this way too well.
I need screenshots. If you started Zach Wilson this week in any league, you won, I need to see it. I can't be the only one because I did. And I went against CMC in that matchup. I could not believe it. The widespread difference from my negative 0.9 points to his 46 points. And I still won.
If you started Zach Wilson this week and won your fantasy matchup and made it to the semifinals, definitely send a screenshot. I might send you something. I don't know, because that is an impressive feat.
Hashtag OUSFF pod.
Yes.
Leave it in the chat comments below.
Or on Twitter, if you're watching this on Twitter, or on Instagram, or DM us. I don't know. Get us the screenshot. Next up, Zay Jones left with a hamstring issue. He is day-to-day. No more news on that. And finally...
Frustrating. I took the under receptions, 4.5. The dude got 5 before he left the game. For real? Like, is this real life?
Yep.
By the way, I went 5 for 6 on my betting props this week, which I'm usually awful at. He was the only one I missed. You couldn't just go out earlier? You had to catch that one ball? I couldn't go perfect on the weekend?
We have that. I use that Offside app where you can make free bets, and then if you win, you get like $5. But you have to do like several parlays, and I had a 7-leg parlay on the Colts game, and the Michael Pittman Jr. one screwed me. So
you took the over? I took the under on all those. All those I took the under on Pittman.
I think it was yardage or something like that. I took the over on yardage for whatever reason, or something about Michael Pittman.
Next time, just come to me. Come to me. I got you.
Okay. Finally, Zach Moss left the game with a shoulder injury after his reception touchdown. He actually had a decent day, I think. 12.3 points. It's not terrible. He got a touchdown against the Steelers before he left. But he the plans are to play this weekend, depending on how practice progresses. So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
George play. We will get to the waiver wire additions pretty soon. Actually, that was the last injury news.
That was the last one.
Let's get to the priority waivers right now.
This week's priority waivers.
George asks, we'll just get to George's question before we get to our list. Should I add Zamir White, McKinnon, and Trey Sermon and drop Charbonnet, Dowdle, and Keaton? Yes, and yes. I would drop Keaton, Dowdle, and Charbonnet is difficult for me, but I can definitely see you dropping him because Ken Walker looks like he's back 100%. Zamir White, we're unclear on Josh Jacobs' status right now. I would definitely keep monitoring his situation with his practicing. Same thing goes with Pacheco. I feel like if Pacheco's in, McKinnon becomes useless. They don't really use the two for some reason. It's odd.
But also for some reason late in the season, the
McKinnon always comes through.
So like this is the time to pick up McKinnon just in case.
Yep, and we're gonna talk about Trey Sermon a little bit later, because that's stupid. It's stupid that we're talking about Trey Sermon and week, the semifinals matchups. But yes, you could definitely drop Keaton, Dowdle, and I would drop maybe possibly Charbonnet. I would add Zamir White just as a speculative, like you need to have him on your roster just in case. McKinnon, same thing. Sermon, we'll talk about him literally in like maybe 10 minutes. So let's get into our waiver wire additions. We have Tyler Boyd, number 1 on my list because of the injury to my boy Jamar Chase. That's unfortunate that he's going to be out for a couple weeks. And Tyler Boyd is a veteran. He knows how to get the job done. He's a no-nonsense kind of player. I kind of compare him to Gus Edwards. When he gets hot, and he's no nonsense, no flash. He's just a simple, like 7 catches, 70 yards, and a tutty. But he can blow up as well. He's rostered in 49% of leagues. He's a guy I want to target if I need a wide receiver. If I lost Jamar Chase for sure, like definitely, or a Michael Pittman situation. Again, he's rostered in 49% of leagues. He's definitely out there. Go take a look. He's number 1 on my list. Justin, do you have anything to add about that?
I agree. That was the first one that I added to any of my lists here. Most of the leagues that I have already roster him, unfortunately, but Tyler Boyd, just take a look. With Jamar Chase definitely missing this week, maybe Michael Pittman misses this week. Tyler Boyd is definitely somebody that should be targeted this week.
Now, I have a question for you. I want to dive deep a little bit into Tyler Boyd. Let's say you have a Brandon Cooks or you have someone of that nature, that Tyler Boyd range. How comfortable are you starting him over players like a Brandon Cooks or Chris Godwin, who's doing very poorly right now? Not really in the, it's a Mike Evans show over there. Tyler Boyd only had 2 catches for 53 yards against Minnesota. The week before, 2 catches. I understand Chase was there, but are we going to see an uptick? Are we going to see this huge blow up from Tyler Boyd? Probably not, but he's going to get the targets because Chase is gone. So what I'm trying to ask you, are you going to ride the hot hands with Cooks, who's been doing well, or Godwin, who's a known veteran, or are we rolling with Tyler Boyd over those guys?
Well, Cooks has been falling the last couple of weeks because the Cowboys have been falling the last couple of weeks, so that doesn't look good for him. I'm already benching Cooks, if not dropping him I wouldn't drop him, but I would have him on the bench. Godwin is getting the hot hand. I would probably continue to play Godwin just because of how well Baker is playing right now, which leaves me with Boyd. If I'm shut up, if I have to choose between Boyd and Cooks, I'm going to take Boyd. Just because of that volume share, he's going to be getting those reps that Jamar Chase would normally be getting. Who knows? Is T. Higgins actually back, or is
she look back?
Do we have flashes in the pan? That then comes down to who else are they going to throw it to? Who is Browning going to actually throw the ball to other than Higgins?
So they're at Pittsburgh on a Saturday game, the 23rd, 4:30. So Pittsburgh's not really great right now. They always play each other close, though, so I definitely keep monitoring that. Tough game. Next guy on our list. Well, actually, let's get to this question before we get to the next guy. What's the chance that Zeke is the lead back again this week, or is Stevenson coming back? Man, If I had a magic ball, 8-ball, I would tell you, because Ramondre is sinking. If you probably haven't listened to this show since the beginning, since day one, or even since the preseason, but you got to understand, I ranked this guy in the top 5 at running backs. I was the highest on Ramondre over anyone else in the world, period. And he is crushing me in the playoffs. I am watching the reports. I need him back. But if the Patriots are out of it and the Patriots are just tanking and they're trying to, Belichick's not tanking. He wants the record. He wants to get more wins. He has an incentive to try to win, right? Belichick does. So maybe they do bring Ramondre back. Maybe they do, bring him back to try to win these games to save Bill's job, which I don't think is going to happen. But the chances are Zeke is going to be the most likely to lead back, especially coming off of an injury like Ramondre's. I would lean more towards Zeke in the situation because he's been getting the job done. That's just the facts. He's been doing okay. Man, come back, Ramondre. Please. Please.
Sleeper currently has Ezekiel Elliott as the RB1, followed by Jermichael Hasty with Ramondre at RB3.
Please.
That doesn't mean a guarantee, but
Killing me.
Why have Ramondre come back at this? I mean, again, Bill Belichick's gone, so what's it matter to him? But
I need him.
Well, we have always said teams don't care about your roster, so
I need him.
Sorry.
Zeke's been catching the ball a lot. That's something you guys have to understand. He had 5 catches last week, 7 the week before, 4 the week before that. He's also getting a lot of work on the ground. Zeke has been a monster since returning. Last week, only 9.6 against Kansas City. That's understandable, but 27 the week before, 13.2 before that. I'm okay with riding Zeke. I'll just say that. I'm okay with riding Zeke.
Okay.
But monitor the situation, unfortunately.
Who do you want to talk about next?
You know what? Let's go down the list. Tajay Spears. He's a must add. Tell me why. You put this on here. Tell me why. We've been talking about this guy for at least 10 weeks now.
45%. That's the thing. Still only 45%. Derrick Henry only has like a couple more rushing attempts than Tajay Spears. Henry also had the worst game of his entire career. I think getting 12 rushing yards on like 14 attempts. It was really bad. I think it was actually worse than that. He had 16 attempts with 9 rushing yards. The Titans are officially out of the playoffs. Why should Derrick Henry play anymore? He's going into his free agency year. Why risk getting hurt the final 3 games of the season and then ruin your chance at playing ever again? He's already talked about maybe retirement, or what his plans are for the offseason. I think Henry shuts himself down. Honestly, what is there? You might as well run Tajay out there and get more experience, get more reps with that offense. I would be picking up Tajay Spears right now.
I would be picking up Tajay Spears. I've been telling everyone to pick up Tajay Spears because he is getting the majority of the workload, the snap share. Derrick Henry is under 50% 2 weeks in a row. Going into this game against Houston, the snap shares aren't really uploaded yet on Player Profiler, but you're right, 16 carries, no yardage. We have 10 total yards total. The week before against Miami, he scored 2 freaking touchdowns. The week before that, he scores 2 freaking touchdowns. The week before that, he scores 2 freaking touchdowns. But the week I don't play against him, he does absolutely nothing. Make it make sense, people. Make it make freaking sense. But Tajay Spears is definitely on the uptick. This is more for keeper league status, I believe. Even if Tajay Spears gets in there, what are they going to do? That offense looks inept. If Ryan Tannehill's coming back, do you really want any piece of this? But yes, at the end of the day, Tajay Spears is a running back who's getting 67% of the snaps against Miami, looking like more than 60% against Houston as well. You need to roster Tajay Spears. He needs to be on your, especially if you roster Derrick Henry. I've been telling you all this. Y'all still hold on to Jerry Jeudy. I see it. I see the numbers. Judy's numbers aren't dropping. But guess what? His passes, his opportunities are, his target share is. We're still holding on to Jerry Jeudy for some reason. So I'm going to make it make sense. That's just a player I've just named. Hey, all you internet trolls, don't be coming at me with your Jeudy takes.
We're about to get hit hard because he had 10 points last week.
I don't need to hear your, he had 10 points. Get the fuck out of here. All right, who's next? We have Justice Hill, because Keaton Mitchell is out for the season. It seems like they cannot find a running back in Baltimore. It seems like for the past 4 years, they've been rolling out just guys. I mean, J.K. Dobbins gets hurt every year. Then they bring in like a speedster. He gets hurt. Then they're like, well, I guess we got Lat Murray. I guess we got Le'Veon Bell. I guess we got Deontay Foreman. And I guess now we got Justice Hill. Justice Hill played a few games earlier in the season. He can get the job done. I think any running back can get the job done there. And it looks like he's the only veteran, the only one back there that's going to get the majority of the carries. He's definitely, I would put him over Tajay Spears for sure, because he's going to get the starting work. I would almost put him above Tyler Boyd as well this week. What do you think about that?
I'm not getting Justice Hill this week.
They're playing San Fran. People are afraid. I get it.
I'm just not going to get him. I still think Gus Edwards is their lead back. He's been their lead back all season. And it's not me just riding the Gus Edwards bus, the Gus bus, but Gus had a touchdown last week on 16 carries, which was his most carries since week 8 when he scored 29 fantasy points. I think he's still the guy there. Justice Hill got 5 carries for 23 yards.
Yeah.
It's not a ton.
No.
He's not getting the volume. Nobody is getting the volume. If I'm taking a running back in Baltimore, it's still going to be Gus Edwards. I'm not going to go out and get Justice Hill just because their rookie got hurt.
It's just so scary. And you're right. It is so scary to ride with Gus because, again, he can be the guy who gets you 15 carries for 50 yards. And then you're stuck with 5 points. Whereas Justice Hill gives you that out of the backfield. When he was playing early in the season, when they didn't have the Keaton Mitchell ready, he was getting targets. He was getting about 4 targets a game from week 5 to 8. That's a pretty good stretch of targets. And that's when he was the most productive he's been all season. Still wasn't great. It still wasn't. But man, I just like Justice Hill's elusiveness over Gus Edwards. I could be 1,000% wrong. And Gus can get 20 carries, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you guys are all making fun of me. That's okay. But I am prioritizing someone like Justice Hill because on an offense that prioritizes running the ball, on an offense that they can't keep a running back healthy, and on an offense that just lost, 3 running backs this season, you kind of need all the running backs, right? I mean, I would feel like I need all the running backs on that team. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But they are running the ball a ton, as you would expect. Maybe they lean more on your boy Lamar. Maybe Lamar gets more carries. I don't know. But I would prioritize Justice Hill this week if I was missing a Ramondre and you couldn't have Zeke. If you're missing a Jacobs and you couldn't get Zamir, Justice Hill's not a terrible option. Not terrible. I know you're laughing, but I know you love Gus Edwards. I know.
I'm just looking at facts, and the facts are Gus Edwards is the guy there.
And I'm looking at team run plays per game. They're second. They average 32 run plays a game. And I'm looking at, hey, they're not all going to go to Gus. That's what I'm looking at. And we're looking at waivers here.
When they get to the goal line, even when Keaton Mitchell was there, even when JK was healthy for 5 minutes, Gus gets the goal line carries.
He does.
That's what matters in fantasy football is who's getting those goal line carries.
I think targets. But anyway, Trey Sermon, Colts, running back. Roster. I should let you guys know Justice Hill rostered in 13% of leagues. Trey Sermon rostered in 0% of leagues. Trey Sermon is a guy who I'm not touching. I put him on this list because some of you guys might touch him. I've been burnt by Trey Sermon in the past in dynasty drafts, by the way. And it didn't turn out. So I am burnt. I am scolded. I don't want to touch this guy. As a Colts fan, how do you feel?
First off, just from this morning when I made this graphic to now, because some leagues do daily waivers, he went from 0% to 11% in sleepers. So that's interesting. If Zach Moss doesn't play, go get Trey Sermon. He was the guy in the backfield last week. Goodson came off the practice squad, but I would, with how well Trey Sermon played, I would expect him to be the guy that is going to be the lead carrier. If Zach Moss doesn't play, this isn't going to be like a permanent thing. This is going to be like a 1-week solution though. So Jonathan Taylor's not going to be out for the rest of the season. He's going to be coming back soon. He's going to take up the target or the carries, the attempts, the snap share. But Trey Sermon's already saw 43% last week.
I don't know why so many people are hating on Trey Sermon. Last year, his yards per carry was 9.5. Again, only on 2 carries. But still, 9.5. I mean, come on, this guy's a stud. This guy had so much potential, and we all thought he was going to be something, and he wasn't. There's not enough metrics and numbers out there and tape on him to actually give a fair evaluation. But if he is the guy, it's going to be disgusting, but you're going to have to start him in the semifinals.
If he is the guy and he wants to prove that he is a guy, Zach Moss is going out. Like, he'll be a free agent this offseason. Trey Sermon will be a free agent this offseason. I'm pretty sure he only has a 1-year contract because he got signed to the practice squad. This is the week, like, to prove, like, hey, like, I can be RB2 behind JT. Like, sign me, don't sign Zach. Like, I want the job. This is the week, whether Zach Moss plays or not. They split that backfield. It's not all going to be Zach Moss, whether he plays or not. He's going to want to prove it now. He's already had one good week with 88 rushing yards. Is probably career high, honestly. I would expect him to play hard no matter what. I would pick up Trey Sermon over Justice Hill. I wouldn't start Trey Sermon, but I'd be looking at picking him up.
They're playing Atlanta at Atlanta. Atlanta's a team in shambles right now, unfortunately. They don't even give Bijan Robinson the ball. They're in shambles. So the Colts are in a must-win situation. So they're going to want to try to win. I don't know if Trey Sermon's going to be the guy, but he's definitely someone you need to watch. We have 2 more left, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Make sure you follow us again on Instagram, on Twitter, X, at OUSFF Pod. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and make sure you go to our other YouTube channel. We put out all the shorts. So if you don't want to watch the full episode, which if you're watching this and you're not going to see this on the shorts, but if you don't want to watch the full episode, we put up shorts of every segment we do on our own personal YouTube page, OUSFF Pod. So please, I appreciate a follow over there as well. Back to the waiver wire additions. We have Trey Palmer, Chargers, 29% rostered. He had that one long bomb last week, which made his week awesome.
Josh Palmer.
That's what I said. Josh Palmer.
You said Trey Palmer. It's fine.
Whatever.
You want to start that over again for the short?
No, I don't. I want everyone to know that I said Josh Palmer. I'm going to go watch the tape.
Okay.
Josh Palmer with the worst offense, with the worst team in NFL, the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, I'm stuck back in my ways. Oh, man. I don't know what to say about this guy. I don't know if Keenan Allen's going to play. But this guy is slotted in to be the wide receiver 2 going forward if Keenan Allen plays. If not, he's a wide receiver 1. And that's someone you need to pay attention to. Because we even saw last week, without Justin Herbert, without Keenan Allen, without Mike Williams, he can still make plays. Were you comfortable with the plays? Were you like, man, this guy's really stressing me out. He's not doing anything. Then all of a sudden, boom, touchdown. Then you're happy. That's what Josh Palmer can do. I'm not saying he's an elite talent, but a number 1 wide receiver in today's NFL, no matter who it is going to produce, or at least try to produce, I hope. Trey Palmer's a guy I'm eyeing if I need a guy. If I miss out on Boyd, if I miss out on what are you laughing at?
You just said Trey Palmer again.
Josh Palmer. Who is Trey Palmer? Is there a Trey Palmer in real life? Like, is there a Trey Palmer? I'm going to find out. I'm going to Google Trey Palmer. I have to find out who Trey Palmer is because he is in my head. He's a football player. Trey Palmer, football player
for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I love Trey Palmer. Out. Go get Trey Palmer too on your dynasty teams. Go check it out. If Trey Palmer's on your dynasty, we'll talk about this Dynasty Friday. If he's out there in your if he's on your waiver wire in your dynasty league, you're doing something wrong. Trey Palmer's awesome.
But we're talking about Chargers Joshua Palmer right now.
Joshua Palmer, yes, we had four targets, 4 catches, 1 touchdown, 113 yards last week. He's not a flash in the pan player. He's been doing it. He's been an average player his entire career, but he gets double-digit fantasy points more often than not because of the target share. We have a different quarterback situation here. He's not a must-add. He's not someone that you should prioritize, but he is someone out there if he's out there. He is rostered in 29% of leagues if you don't see it on this. Boom, right there.
I think it is important to note here that 81 of those yards came on one single play off of a busted coverage when they were down 42 points. So temper your expectations.
Of course.
If Keenan Palmer doesn't play, then cool. All yards are fair game in fantasy football that matters. So this wasn't like he had 4 catches for 29 yards. He had 3 catches for like 25, 30 yards and 1 for a lot. So,
I mean, T. Higgins, most of his points came off of that one bomb where he,
yeah.
But we're not talking about T. Higgins like that.
Well, it's because T. Higgins is a GOAT. So
is he?
No,
is he now?
He's not.
Moving on to the last and final guy on
Let's
the
move on
show.
to our GOAT.
The guy who's making us famous.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Listen, Baker Mayfield, I want to get this clear, and I'm not going to go on a huge tangent because I don't have time for that. I got to get shit done. Sorry, Bobby. I never said he was bad at fantasy football, and I would never said he wasn't an asset because he's on multiple of my leagues. He actually helped me move on to a quarterfinal, semifinals. I was talking about next year. This year, this game that he just had, he was phenomenal. Baker baked. Baker was on a different level. Baker is playing for his job because guess what? Whether you like it or not, he knows he's playing for a job. He knows he needs to impress the upper staff. He knows he needs to put great tape out there. And he's trying to also get his team into the playoffs. Baker's been playing really well throughout this season. The past couple weeks against Carolina, Atlanta, no. But against Green Bay, he freaking had the best game of his season. Best game by far. 381 yards, 78% completion percentage, which, trust me, his season total is 63%. So he definitely played over his head. He definitely played above what he's been putting out the rest of the year. So don't come at me with these takes of, you said this about Baker. Yes, he had a great game. Yes, he scored 20 points, fantasy points in the past 2 weeks. I get that. But what was he doing weeks 11, 12, and 13 when he scored 11, 14, and 10? Where were you then? Exactly. You can have bad games. You can have good games. The point is, if you're down a quarterback, if you're down Herbert and you're streaming, if you're down, Geno Smith and you're streaming, or any of these other guys, if you have Tua and you're afraid of Dallas, right? Some people are. I definitely am. I know that Dallas has got torched, but I get that. If you have Sam Howell and he got benched and you're worried about Sam Howell's future, Baker's not a bad situation. I would definitely start Baker over those guys I just named. I'm trying to find out who the Buccaneers are playing to be completely. The Jaguars at home again in Tampa Bay, 4:00 game. This is actually a classic Buccaneers trap game, so be prepared for that, guys. But I would start Baker this week over the guys I just named. I don't know what else to say about Baker. I don't want any more of your mean comments. They're hurting me. They're making me lose sleep at night in my mother's basement. So, Justin, I'll let you talk.
The important thing to note is that this was about dynasty football when we talked about Baker Mayfield. He's doing great right now. Great. Cool. Everybody learns. When we were talking about him being trash, he just played Carolina and got 10 points. He had 29 points last week, which is fantastic. Baker is winning people games. I've got Baker in starting lineups other than the one that I benched him in and then I lost that game, which does suck. But yeah, that's the reality. Sometimes you take chances and you lose on them. I have no doubt Baker will do great the last 3 weeks of the season against Jacksonville, New Orleans, and Carolina. He's got 2 divisional matchups to play. He has to win both of those so that he can actually get to the playoffs with the Buccaneers. Past the season, I don't know about Baker. I don't know if I would even continue to roster him, but yeah, it's going to be important. Go get Baker if he's out there. For some reason, if you're in a 1 quarterback league, he's probably out there. If you lost to another quarterback, you have Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis, for some reason, Zach Wilson. Go get Baker Mayfield. You might as well.
Yeah, Baker, hold one more time.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
We're a Baker podcast, baby. We love Baker. Baker used to be the spokesman for the company I work for. Baker's my dude.
I love his commercials.
But that being said, not going back on my word, I don't think I think this, and I'll leave it at this. If Baker messes around and beats Jacksonville, then they beat New Orleans and they beat Carolina and they make the playoffs, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to the Buccaneers because now you're stuck in this mediocre quarterback again. That's fine. Think what you want about Baker. He's a mediocre quarterback at best, 15, 16, 17th range. That's okay. Not everyone's going to be top 10. Not everyone's Mahomes. I get it. But again, for fantasy purposes, he's been putting up numbers. He's hot and he's cold. He's hot and he's cold. He's never in the middle. It's either super high or super low. So you're playing with fire if you're playing with Baker, and that's okay if that's what you want to do in the semifinals. I'm putting him in some matchups. I have to. I lost Herbert. I lost Stroud. He was my last resort. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. There's no more waiver wire additions. If you have any questions in the chat, If you're still here, which I see some of you still are, please leave a like on the show. It really helps out the algorithm. We've been growing so much in the past 2-3 months. It's been awesome. Even the mean comments, it means you're watching. So I really appreciate. Seriously, and I'm not even kidding. Even the mean comments, even the mean hurtful comments. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate any support. Whether it be mean, positive, we prefer positive. But I get it. Be real with us, and we're real with you. You can start playing that music before we get out of here. I love this song. But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night, Wednesday night, of course, 8 p.m. We'll be talking about starts and sits. By the way, we nailed our starts and sits this week. Like, I think we did. At least I did.
Dave did it. You did.
Dave wasn't here. Dave doesn't count.
That's fair.
Dave does not count. Hopefully, Dave returns tomorrow. Oh, by the way, Finstock Sports Network Fantasy League, I'm out. I'm out of the playoffs. I didn't even set a lineup.
I've been out.
Well, see you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you do all the things that we told you to do. We love you. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.